We get back to the election to talk about the hacking story that's been out there this week of election systems in Arizona and Illinois. And now the word is Homeland Security can get involved, maybe take control of things. So we've brought in cyber analyst Viollis to talk to us about this. Is that like a power? Good to see you, by the way, Paul.
Good to see you, Colin.
Kind of a power grab by government to get involved, or something that's necessary?
Well, you know what Johnson's saying certainly falls in the tenets of the Patriot Act, so I get that. But I really don't think it's a realistic conversation to have 69 days before the election.
Right. So it's something you need to plan out in advance.
There's no question. I mean, think about it. Let's just look at the numbers. You've got over 9,000 sites. Now, our election system is a state-run system. It's not a federal-run system. So for a big bust like DHS to come in and say, we're going to come in and take a look at this, it's really not realistic. It's more rhetoric than anything else.
So you're telling us nothing can be done in time if indeed something needs to be done.
It's highly unlikely, but I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You've got 9,000 sites, and they're run independently, but they're under the auspices of each state. You would actually have to go and conduct an assessment of each individual site, identify the vulnerabilities, and then fortify their systems, each and every one of them. Now, who's going to do that? Who's going to pay for it? How's that going to get done in such a short period of time? Who's going to fund it? Is the federal government going to fund it? Are you going to go to the governors? The governors are going to come back and say, I don't have the money for it.
Of course.
Right?
What's the risk then? I mean, that would lead you to believe that if there are vulnerabilities, somebody with the wrong intentions could get in there, as these stories have been telling us this week, and make something bad happen on Election Day. Right. Are you concerned? Yeah,
very much so. And again, the reason why I'm concerned is because what we've seen, I mean, we've seen the high probability of risk just from what's happened with the attention given to Clinton's email servers.
Right.
And so, it really begs the question, what are we doing looking at this 69 days before the election? Why haven't we done this a year out? I mean, it's not like you and I have been talking about this.
Right. It's not like some event that wasn't coming up, or that we didn't know that cyber was a concern. I mean, those are all fair points.
Exactly.
Sometimes you like to believe that people are doing this behind the scenes, but sometimes then you learn afterwards that no, they were not. So it's kind of scary in some ways. I mean, what's the big risk this year for this election? And that's part one. And then part two, should we be going backwards and just using paper ballots everywhere?
I hate to say yes, but I'm going to say yes because...
Really? Because we're not ready for this.
We're not ready for it. And I think,
so what could happen?
You can change the course of the election. I mean, if you can get in...
Well, they can really get in. That's what I meant. They can get in there, get into the computer and say X1 instead of Y.
Exactly. You can manipulate the metadata. And if you do that, how are we going to validate who sits in the Oval next time?
Even if there's any risk of that, right? Even if there's any thought in someone's mind that might have happened, that's dangerous.
But we already know that there are in-state and non-state actors, Russia, North Korea, China. We know that they're looking at us, and we know they're interested in this election. So this is a foreseeable risk, and it's one we really need to put our arms around quickly.
You would think. Paul, thanks.
Always good to see you.